Thank you so much for taking the time to join our live this afternoon. My name is Zeina El-Sherif and I'm a field education trainer with Wella Professionals. Thank you so much to Modern Beauty Supplies for hosting us again. And today, Nichelle Desautels will be with us and we'll be showing you guys our new Autumn-Winter 2020 color movement, Luxelights. Let me see if she's in here. Oh.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, thank you, Zeina, for the introduction. My name is Nichelle Desautels, and I am a field education trainer for Wella Professionals as well. I am coming live from Vancouver, BC. It's a hot, muggy day here, so hopefully it doesn't get too hot in the apartment with all the windows closed. And like Zeina said, today we are going to be talking about our new 2020 fall-winter color movement, which is called Luxelights. So for those of you that are Wella users or have been using Wella for a while, we talk a lot about whenever we release collections or new shades, we always come out with a color movement that kind of complements those shades or that collection. So this time it's going to be Luxelights. And I'll be quite honest with you guys, we're not reinventing the wheel here. Luxelights is probably something you've done in the salon in some way, shape, or form. But we always just like to come out with something that's going to be an easy service for you to bring back into the salon and a way to kind of sell things to your clients or be able to introduce something new to your clients that maybe they haven't thought of before, but it just gives you a different way of kind of approaching it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Did you have anything else to add there, Zeina?
No, that's really great. One thing I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions while Nichelle is showing us the Luxelights technique, feel free to put them in the question cards at the bottom there. I'll be watching the chat box as well, so don't hesitate to give us your questions.
Yes, definitely. Sorry, I just had to grab something there. Okay, perfect. So this is my mannequin, and I have sectioned her off into 5 sections. So we have a front section, back quadrant, and a front quadrant. And then we have kind of a circle section on the top. Now that's going to be our veil. So this is going to have no highlights or anything in it. We're going to veil this over top of the color. Now the reason why I've done this kind of sectioning is because one, it gives me 4 clear sections that I'm going to be working in. And then having that veil of color on top allows it to be a very low maintenance look. So where Luxelights kind of positions is for those gray coverage clients or root color clients that come in every 6 to 8 weeks. They get the same gray coverage appointment every 6 to 8 weeks, and we kind of do the drive-by with them. We're like, oh, same as last time, okay, and we walk away. So this is a service that can kind of give them an updated look and just give them some dimension and kind of a natural sun-kissed look. And this also allows you to kind of offer an alternative to them and maybe, change their look a little bit. So yeah, I am gonna start getting into my application. So today I've mixed up our new Blonderplex lightener. And that is what I'm going to be using to highlight today. I'm going to be working with large weave, like zigzagged weaves in foils. Okay.
I'm just going to interrupt you there for a second, Nichelle. Someone said in the comments, can I check this video later? I have a client processing, so my timing is off. And you can absolutely watch this video. It's going to be posted on the Modern Beauty Supplies IGTV. So you can come back and watch this later. Thanks for asking that. What I love about Luxelights, you guys, is it's a really great express service in the salon when we don't have a lot of time to necessarily do a full head of highlights or to really like do a drastic change to our clients. And even with these gray coverage clients, they're really used to kind of having a natural, like the exact same kind of look. So it's kind of nice to introduce them into something different. And with this veil Nichelle's having over top, they still kind of have that security blanket of the color they're used to seeing.
Yes, definitely. So, and this can be tailored to kind of any kind of sectioning, but I think the biggest thing is we're talking about 4 quadrants to keep it really easy, and we're doing minimum amount of foils for maximum impact. It's kind of the whole point behind the movement. Okay. So I've taken my first section here. I'm going to start in the front. So I've taken this first section as like a diagonal section across my my front quadrant there, and I'm going to kind of zigzag it. What this does is it just gives me a nice large weave that's kind of zigzagged, right? Can everybody see that?
Yeah, that looks like it'll fall softer too.
Yes, definitely. And then I'm going to take my backcombing brush from YS Park, and I'm going to slightly backcomb the root. And the reason why I'm doing, sorry?
I like that you have a special comb for that.
Yes. Now you could decide to go right to the root with these. The only reason why I'm deciding to
Oh, I think we're frozen here. I don't know if I'm frozen or if Nichelle is frozen.
This happened last time we were doing a live, and I'm not quite sure what it is. So
am I frozen at that point, or are you frozen?
I was frozen. My phone shut.
Oh, okay. So everyone can still hear me when that happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you lose? Nick says lost you. Did you lose both of us or just Nichelle? I'm just wondering because I don't know if I'm frozen too.
All right. Yeah, so what happens is my phone wants to shut, like close. All right.
So is this kind of like a foliage technique, Nichelle, that you're doing?
Yes, so this is kind of a foliage technique. I chose to backcomb because I'm working right on where her part is, so right where she's going to see, and that veil's not quite falling over top of this piece. So
how do you like working with the new Blonderplex?
I love the new Blonderplex. I love the consistency. I find it quite creamy, and I feel like the lift is amazing. How do you like it, Zeina?
I'm absolutely loving working with Blonderplex. I love the creamy consistency. It saturates the hair so well. And for those of you that haven't used Blonderplex yet, it's our multi-blonde powder with Wellaplex #1 already pre-measured in.
Oh, okay, Zeina, I'm just trying leaving really quick and then rejoining.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
No worries.
Sorry, guys.
Thanks, Nichelle. Okay, sorry about that. Those technical difficulties, you guys. What I was saying before is Blonderplex is our multi-blonde powder lightener with Wellaplex #1 already pre-mixed in. So we've really taken the thinking out of using Wellaplex out of the service. So you would just go straight in using Blonderplex, and then you'd follow up with your Wellaplex step 2. All right, let's see if this works. Hello.
Okay, maybe that's gonna work. Sorry about that, guys.
It's okay, technology.
Yes. So what were you saying about Blonderplex?
I was just saying how Wellaplex is already pre-measured into the lightener. So we've essentially taken all of the thinking of our Wellaplex service out, and you just go straight in with your Blonderplex. You lighten the hair as you would, and then you would rinse the hair, and you'd follow up with Wellaplex step 2.
Yes, exactly. All right. So there's my first foil. You can see it doesn't sit directly on the root because I have that little bit of back combing there, and it's just going to be very soft. It's a large weave sitting on a diagonal section. When I work with this diagonal section like this, you got to think about how the hair is falling. So when she wears her hair down, we're going to get maximum impact because it's covering, you know, where her hair is going to naturally fall. So
Nick says he loves Blonderplex.
Oh yes, I think we all love Blonderplex.
It's my new favorite.
Yeah. So now I'm taking my next section down, and I did zigzag it as well. Now you could do large weaves here, or you could do smaller weaves. Now a large weave is going to give you kind of the maximum impact, or a smaller weave is going to give you less impact. So it all kind of depends on how much dimension they want to see, and that'll determine how big or small your weaves should be.
So we just have a question in the question cards here. Does adding Wellaplex to the lightener slow down the lightener?
That's a great question. No, it does not. What I love about Wellaplex and Blonderplex is our bonding agent does not affect the lifting process or the lightening process. It works with our color, so it's going to be kind of your best option to use with Wella color.
That's what I love about Wellaplex as well. Like, you don't have to change your developer. You don't have to increase your development time. Everything essentially about your usual process stays the same as far as timing and strength of developer and all that stuff. So I think that's really awesome about Wellaplex.
Yeah, definitely. So you'll notice here, like, I am heavily saturating my foils because what do we know? Like, we know about lightening, saturation is key. So you can see I've got a good saturation. And when I get up to kind of the root area here, I'm just feathering my lightener as I move up.
Okay, so we just have another question. Why is this? Why is this about the Wellaplex? Was that the question? Just wanted a bit of confirmation.
Why is this? Wellaplex, okay.
Yes, okay. So the reason that Wellaplex does not affect your developer strength or your timing is because it sits at the same pH as color and lightener. So it doesn't slow your lightener down because it essentially sits the same spot on the pH scale. I hope I explained that well.
Yes, you did. No, that's exactly right. So usually when we're working with color, we're sitting at a high alkalinity on the pH scale. So our Blonderplex or Wellaplex is formulated for that same pH that our color sits at.
Thanks for the question, Nick.
All right, so I'm working, kind of my plan was to do 3 to 4 foils in each quadrant, and that kind of keeps it very simple. It's something that we can do very fast. As you can see, I'm almost through my very first quadrant here. So really, this is going to be a service that you can kind of add on to those gray coverage clients very quickly, because we all know, you know, they'll book for gray coverage and then spring highlights on you or want a little bit of change, but you won't have time in your schedule. So this is a really quick service that you can kind of add on or offer. And that's kind of the point behind it.
Well, I think right now too, because of what's going on with COVID, I don't know about you, Nichelle, but I'm only booking one client at a time. So I'm really trying to make the most out of the clients in my chair and really maximize my service with them. So if I can upsell my client and upgrade their service into a Luxelights service with just a few foils on each quadrant of the head and also adding that root touch up on there, if we do that with every one of our root touch-up clients, that'll really increase our ticket prices as well.
Definitely. And also, like, I find with the clients that, you know, come in and get the same thing every time, you know, it is nice to update their look a bit and change their look a bit and be able to offer something slightly different for them. Because then it also shows that maybe you were thinking about them as well, right?
Okay, so we just have a question here, Nichelle. Okay, so this technique is called Luxelights. And another question is, if grays are there, you will cover that after foiling? That is a good question.
Yes, that's a great question. So that is correct. So as you know, I'm working on a mannequin. We can all see that I'm working on a mannequin. I had to pre-color her before I started doing my highlights, just to make sure it matched. So normally what we do is we put the highlights in or the foils in, and then we'd go in and put our gray coverage roots on. And since your gray coverage roots have to sit for 45 minutes, I've actually used my Blonderplex with my 13 volume developer from Color Touch, because I want it to lift kind of low and slow. So I'm able to let my gray coverage roots sit on for the full 45 minutes and make sure I'm getting coverage. Perfect. I'm just going to switch sides here. Hope everybody can still see.
So Nichelle, is there an instance where you would touch up the gray first and then add the foils in?
Definitely. If I was doing like more like a balayage service, let's say like I was going to go in with my free lights and free lights lightener instead, then I would put on my gray coverage roots and then go in and do my balayage service afterwards while that was sitting.
So you can really do the Luxelights technique with any kind of application. So even like with free painting, just adding a few painted pieces and then having that root on also is a great way to increase your ticket price as well.
Yeah, definitely. Do you do a lot of gray coverage in the salon?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we all do a lot of gray coverage in the salon. We all know gray coverage is our bread and butter. It's our #1 client coming in. And I think a lot of those clients are just used to always getting just their grays covered. And maybe they've thought about changing it, but they don't want to spend a lot of time in the salon, or they're afraid of more upkeep because grays are already so much maintenance for them. So I think a lot of clients are nervous about adding on more services and having to touch that up as well. So I think Luxelights is a really great way to introduce them to something low maintenance and give them that dimension and that softness and that natural color that they're still looking for too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so there's a question here. How much extra would you charge for this upgrade? Pricing question.
Pricing question. So every city and every demographic is going to have kind of different pricing. So it's very hard for me to be able to price something out for you because I obviously work in a salon in downtown Vancouver. So my pricing is going to be much different than somebody that works in a salon in a smaller town or city or is a little bit out of the city center. So I would kind of look at maybe what your partial highlight price is and kind of gauge from there what you would add on or, you know, how much extra time it might take you and like figure out what that would be. I hope that kind of answers your question. All right. So I pre-colored my mannequin, as I mentioned before, and I actually pre-colored her with one of our new cool natural shades. So that we released a collection called Intense Cool Naturals. I think Zeina has a swatch for you guys.
There we go.
Yeah. So it was 4 new shades that got released in an intense, cool, natural shade. So if you notice, there's 2 numbers before the stroke. That means it's a double pigmented or intense shade. And then we have our tone after the stroke, which is a natural matte or natural green. And don't get scared of the green. They're beautiful shades. And what I kind of love about them is they are meant for cool gray coverage. And so I've been using them a lot in the salon. I think one of my favorite things I like about them so far is when we normally formulate for gray coverage, we always have to add, you know, base and tone. With these shades, the base and tone is already in there. So I'm able to go in with my color of choice and 20 volume and put it directly on the hair, and it covers the gray 100%. And we get that nice, cool gray coverage that clients are kind of looking for right now.
Can you, Nichelle, can you elaborate a little bit on base and tone?
Yes, definitely. So base and tone, when we talk about gray coverage, we always talk about adding base and tone. If you follow any of our pages or if you've ever been in one of our classes, you'll hear us say that. And what that kind of means is we always add a pure natural shade and a target shade into our gray coverage formulas. If you were to go in with just target or just natural, it can tend to look very hollow and you won't get full coverage. So we would take any of our pure natural shades, so any of those beige tab boxes, and mix it with a target shade. And your target shade could be anything from the rich naturals to the deep browns to the vibrant reds. Any of those shades can be your target shade. And that's how we formulate for gray coverage. Do you have anything else to add there, Zeina?
Yeah, so guys, any of our pure naturals are gonna give you what's gonna give you your gray coverage, and then your other shades are for your tone. So what Nichelle's saying is really cool about the intense, cool, natural shades is they already have both in there, so you don't have to think to formulate. These can also be added into the other Colorstone Perfect shades. You can intermix them. However, it's just you don't need to be thinking about what am I going to add to this to create some sort of tone. So with our intense pure naturals, they have a double number in front of the stroke. This is going to give us intense gray coverage. This is perfect for those really coarse clients with really intense gray, like tons of gray to cover coarse textured hair. And then the 2 is our green, and that's what's going to give us our cool pigments. These are really cool because they fade on tone, so they fade really cool as well. And these have like anti-brass in them. So this is what's going to give your client the most natural looking matte finish.
Yes, definitely.
Nick says he loves the deep browns for a natural premium tone. Me too.
Yes, where all the yummy colors live, right, Nick?
Yes.
Our caramels and chocolates, and yes. But I do love the intense cool shades. I feel like they go on really nice. I know a lot of people ask, do they go green? No, they do not. They just give you that really nice matte shade. And a lot of clients, they're great for clients who don't want to see warmth. They're also really great in color correction too. If you're dealing with a lot of, you know, red and orange tones, like it's going to be really nice for color correction.
So,
all right.
Nichelle, do you want to just tell us how much natural do you typically add into your formula?
So if I was doing gray coverage, it's going to depend on how much gray they have. So if they have, you know, 50% gray, then 50% of my formula would be my pure natural shade and 50% would be my target shade. If they had, you know, anywhere between, like say they had 30% gray, then, you know, 25% of my formula would be pure natural shade and 75% would be target shade.
Yes.
Anything over 50%, so say they're 100% gray, it's still going to be 50-50.
That's a great little formula there. It's a really easy tip and trick to just know how to formulate and remember. And yes, these intense, cool naturals are olive toned. That's a great way of putting it. More olive. That's less scary than green.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great for those mushroom browns as well.
Christina says, excited to be here and learn. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Christina. Awesome.
I'm excited
All
for
right.
you to be here too.
So I've completed my 2 front sections, and you'll kind of notice that I did the 1 front section on the left here, and then I moved immediately to the right side. When I'm foiling, I always like to do, like if I'm working at the front of the head first, I'll do both front sections first, and then I'll kind of move on to the back, just so they match a little bit more, if that makes sense.
You go from side to side. You finish one quadrant and then you move to the other side.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. All right. So I have my 2 back sections here. So I did 3 foils in the front. So I'm going to do 3 foils in the back here as well in each section.
You can really see how this could be a really quick express service in the salon and how it wouldn't take up too much more time if you're only putting 3 foils in each quadrant.
Definitely. Yeah. It's it makes it very, very quick. And obviously this is taking me a little longer than I would do this in the salon because I'm also talking at the camera as well. But in the salon, this is a very, very quick service.
So I think the looks with Luxelights is just very soft and very natural and keeping it very subtle. Nichelle, can I show some of these looks that we have here?
Yes, definitely.
So the point of Luxelights is really to replicate natural hair and really give her like a youthful look. What type of color would you tone with? Sorry, I just read that. Weird.
That's a really great question. So after a Luxelight service, you could go in and tone with a Color Touch or any of our other kind of color families. But with this, I'm probably going to go in with what we call as a glossing service. And a glossing service is something we offer with Colaston Perfect and also with Illumina. So it's 1 part color to 1 part pastel, 1.9%, to 1 part post color service.
That's okay, Nick. He said typo. No worries.
So
I love doing a glossing service.
Yes, yeah. It's a really great way to finish a service. It allows you to tone and gloss using a permanent. It adds a ton of shine into the hair. And it's really just going to finish off that color and lock everything in.
Yeah, I love doing a glossing service mostly because of the shine.
Yes, the shine
that you
is
get out of it. It's really gonna the main point you're gonna get out of glossing service is the shine and a bit of tone. We have a question. What is post color?
Okay. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can take that because I see you're working there. So post color is our color treatment. It goes on after every color service. It goes all over the hair and the scalp for 3 to 5 minutes. And what that's going to do is it's going to balance the pH of the hair and the scalp. It's going to neutralize any chemical residue, and it's really going to help the longevity of your color as well. How is glossing different from toning? That's a really great question.
That is a good question.
Yes. So I find the glossing service is more about shine, and it does deposit tone. But if you need to correct a lot of the tone in the hair, like if the hair is really orangey, or if you need to do a lot of correcting, I would go in with just Colaston Perfect and Pastel Developer as a toner. Because a glossing service, I feel like a glossing service isn't going to do a lot of correcting. It's mainly going to gloss and deposit just a bit of tone. Would you agree with that, Nichelle?
Yes, definitely. It's a little bit more diluted because of the post color treatment that's in there.
When I really love doing a glossing service is when if I did highlights and I'm afraid of breaking the base or shifting the natural at all, a glossing service is really great for that, because adding that post color treatment into your Colaston Perfect and into your Pastel Developer is really going to slow the action down. So if, at any point, if you're afraid of breaking the base, glossing service is a really great way to go.
Definitely. And it's also a really nice add-on service. So I've been doing it a lot in the salon where, say, somebody's come in, you know, I've colored their hair before, but they've come in just to get their haircut touched up. but they want, you know, their color a little bit freshened up. But they haven't booked in for a color service. A glossing service is a great way to kind of refresh their color in between services. And it takes 5 to 10 minutes at the sink. So, you know, it's not going to take you any extra time, really. And you can also kind of add that to their ticket price. And it also refreshes their color. So it'll give them a little bit of boost of color and shine.
And yes, just like an overlay.
All right.
Okay, so I put the Luxelight photos back up because I realized I got sidetracked.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So this is the first look. This first look, they did similar sectioning to what I did here today. So she's got the veil of color over top, and you can see the highlights just poking through the bottom there a little bit. It's a really beautiful color. I think obviously pictures do wonderful things, but I feel like it brought some color to her face.
Yeah, it's a really great way to like give her that dimension too, and it really does soften her. I think Luxelights can bring like that youthful look back too. What would you recommend to use for home care after doing this service?
Oh, that's a really great question.
Yeah.
I used Blonderplex today. So as we said earlier, if you guys are just tuning in, Blonderplex is our lightener that has our Plex system already in it, so our bonding agent already in it. And if I had a client coming in for a Blonderplex service, I would like to send her home with Color Motion Plus. So Color Motion Plus is our new care line that has that complements our Wellaplex and Blonderplex. So it has color protection and strength together. So it's going to give her up to 8 weeks color protection. And it's also going to help keep her hair healthy and repaired in between color services. Do you want to go into kind of what's in the care line there, Zeina?
Yeah, my favorite thing is the structure mask, which is the take-home mask. And it's my favorite thing because it has Wellaplex bonding agent formulated into the mask. So it's nice and thick. It makes your hair feel so much more moisturized and stronger. And you only need a little bit. It goes such a long way. I've had this mask for like a while now, and I haven't even used the whole thing. I mean, I also don't wash my hair, but still.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've been using it as well because if you guys had tuned into any of our earlier lives, I was actually quite brunette before. And then once everything opened up and I was able to get my hair done again, I had a friend come and do a 6-hour color correction on my hair and turn me blonde.
What a good friend.
What a great friend, right? So she came and we used Blonderplex. It was my first time really using the Blonderplex. And to be honest, I was expecting a lot of breakage on my hair, and I had absolutely none. So I was very, very shocked, and I started using Color Motion in my home care as well, and I've been using the mask once a week, and that would have been end of May, and I still have lots of that mask left. It's probably 3/4 full still.
Yeah, and Color Motion totally is a double whammy. It is color protection and strength all in one. So it's perfect for hair like ours, like especially my hair where it's pink and I need that color protection, but it's also super bleached, obviously. So I need that bond building agent in there.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I forgot to mention when I started doing these back foils is you'll notice I'm still working on a diagonal. I'm not working horizontal to the head. And the reason being that I'm working on a diagonal is because when that hair falls down, it's just going to look a lot more softer and it's going to look more diffused. So it's going to fall a little bit more natural. I'm not going to have any harsh lines kind of in there.
I just wanted to pull up another one of our Luxelights looks. That's part of the collection. I think this one's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful, hey, with her curls.
Like, I love how adding those light pieces in her hair really bring those curls to life and give it so much dimension. I almost feel like people with curly hair should not have one solid color.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of dimension in it, a little bit of movement in it.
And she just looks, I mean, she doesn't look old before, but she just looks even younger. Like her skin is just so, it's glowing after having those brighter pieces around her face.
Yes, definitely.
We just have a question here, Nichelle.
Okay.
What is meant by diffused?
What is it meant? Diffused?
Yes. What do you mean by diffused?
So diffused means blended or subtle, or so we're not going to have, if I were to have a color that's not diffused, I would have very harsh dot prominent lines in the hair that you could see. When it's diffused, it's almost it looks like the hair just, oh gosh, how do I explain that? It just melts into it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Seamless, yes.
Seamless. There we go. That's a great word for it.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
The seamless blend. You don't see where it starts and where it ends.
Yeah. So a lot of times we can achieve that by doing what I'm doing, where I'm backcombing a little bit and feathering my color up. Or you could do it by adding a root melt or like a shadow root. So
I think giving a client who is used to always having to touch up their grays every like 4 to 6 weeks, I think giving her like Luxelights and giving it that diffused seamless look is a really nice way to introduce her to some color, because then that way she's not also having to touch up highlights as well as her gray coverage every few weeks.
Yes, definitely. And so I do have a client that I do a similar service on. And really, she comes in every 4 weeks to get her gray coverage roots touched up. And then we do her highlights every 3 months. So really, you know, she's not having to get it done every time. It's like every third time she gets her hair done, we'll touch up her highlights if they're needed. So
that's perfect. And are you just adding a few? Like, are you like almost doing the Luxelights application?
Yes, very similar. We only really work in the front. So we just brighten up those sections because that's where she wants to see the lightness. So.
Okay, so we just have a question here. Would this have a color on the roots at the same time as you were doing this technique?
So if I were doing this on a gray coverage client, from here, now that I've applied all my foils, I would go in and do my root service. So I'd go in and paint in between the foils, my root color, my gray coverage formula, and let that process.
Is your backcombing going to get in the way at all, Nichelle, like of the roots?
No, because if you noticed, I didn't do a lot of backcombing. I just did one solid push. So if you look, I can kind of show you guys. I'll start here. Oops. There we go. I don't have a ton of backcombing in there. It's not super messy. So.
Okay, and so does a shadow roots give an illusion of more volume?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I would say it depends on the density of the client. Somebody with low density hair, it would almost maybe make it look like they have less hair. Whereas somebody with higher density, yes, it could give the illusion of volume. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the texture of hair and the density for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you do it the other way around? Roots on, then the Luxelights?
Yes, you could, but I would do that if I was doing it in more of like a balayage freehand painting application, because working foils and a root coverage scenario can kind of create a mess. So I would do it in more of like a balayage scenario is where I'd have my root already on.
Okay. Okay, I just want to show our last photo here, Nichelle. This is our last Luxelights model.
Yeah, I love this one. I feel like it completely changed the way she looked. Bringing that brightness to the face and taking that length off, I think it's really, really, really beautiful.
So I think the whole premise of Luxelights is really just about creating a bit of dimension, creating a bit of softness in a quick express service.
Yes, definitely. Like, as you can see, as I was talking and doing this all at the same time and with technical difficulties, that only took me 35 minutes. In reality, in the salon, it's going to take me maybe 15 minutes, 20 if I'm, taking my time with it, because I did 3 foils in each quadrant. Now I can go in with my root coverage, and then after I rinse, I would process my roots for 45 minutes, and then I would go in with my glossing service to tone and bring some color into the highlights that I just put in.
Yeah. Thank you for everything, your time and patience. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed Luxelights today. If you guys want to give us a follow, my Instagram is The Hair Niche, and then Zeina's is Z Hair Warrior. She's put it up there for you guys. And then also, if you wanted to give us a follow at Wella Canada West, where we post and share, formulas and product knowledge, and share all of our education on there as well. And thank you again to Modern for having us. I really do enjoy coming on here and being able to share my knowledge with everybody. So it's, yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nichelle. Thanks to everyone for watching, and thank you so much to Modern Beauty Supply. We love doing this.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys next week.
Yes. So next week we have Zeina and Emily. They will be on doing fine hair styling tips from Nichelle, which is very exciting. And then I will have this look posted to Wella Canada West and my personal page later today when I finish her. So
awesome. Awesome. Can't wait to see what you tone her with.
Yes. Thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you.